Let's move to the next step. And in the next step, we will take the input from the user and then we will fetch the weather information based on the input value. So let's create an input field right there on the top of the card. So inside the hero layout, we can bring in a div block. Yeah, so we can make it the hero layout to be vertical. And inside this div block, we can add a form, because we cannot put the input field outside the form. We need the form element. So let's remove everything from here. And okay, so we need to have a button somewhere. It's not necessary to have the submit button. Okay, so we will create our button ourselves. So this is going to be an input field, and we can call this input to be like, let's go to the settings, let's create a Wized element, and we can call it city input, right? And we can add a button there as well. So we can call this hero input, and inside this input we can call this hero input form, and we can remove this space, and let's add a button right there. Okay, and we can make it flex. We can bring everything to the center. So what should we add the text of this button? So we can, let me just go back. Okay, so we can make it like arrow text. Let's go to this website and we can copy an arrow which is actually a text. So let's say that we are going to make use of okay, so let's copy this one, copy, and let's paste this inside the button, right? So, and also give this button an attribute which is going to be, what's the attribute for this input field? This is city input, and this is going to be city input submit. Okay, let's make it a little beautiful. So let's add a space between these two elements, and we can call it spacer extra small. Okay, and we can make this one, we can set the height to 2 rems or maybe 2.5, or let's go to it 3, and we can make this button to 3 as well, right? Okay, I think this looks good. If I try to make the border radius to be like 0.5 rems, not on this side, let's make this side to none. Right, and we can make this button to be like, let's make this side to be 0.5 and 0.5. sorry, we need to make this 0.5 rems. Okay, perfect. And we can add the placeholder to be enter city name. Okay, so let's publish this these changes. And let's go back and refresh this canvas. Okay, and now we can click on this X-ray, and now we can see that we have two more inputs, two more elements with attributes, right? So now what we can do is, for generating the request, we do not have to put the value there inside this function editor. So we have to fetch the value from this input field. So how we can do this? If I just go to this data store and I click on general, so there you will see that now inside the input fields category, I can see that I.city input, right? So what we can do is, rather than passing Lahore, we can pass I.city input. Perfect. And when we will request for the weather updates, so when we click on this button, so let's go back, and we need to change this perform request from page starts loading to when we click on this button, right? So I think we need to delete this request. Yeah, let's copy the name. Let's copy the request name, and we can say that. Okay, so I think let's remove this request, and I can say that when I click on this button, when this button is clicked, so we have, so this is the trigger, add element events, and these are the settings. So let's go to the element events, and let's create an event which is going to be a click event, and we can just prevent the default settings. We do not want the inputs to be submitted to Webflow or any other default behavior. And the action would be like perform request, and perform request is get request city weather. And the condition, we can set a condition. So we can set a condition like when it is not empty, right? So only then request for the weather updates. So we can say that let's go to the inputs, city inputs, right? And we can say that when this is not equal to, when this is not empty, right? I hope this will work. I'm not sure. But the logic is like this. If I just close this condition, and if I try to refresh the canvas, and let me just turn off this X-ray, and let's put the city name. So let's put Lahore and click on this button, so we can fetch the information from this input, right? So this looks good. And if I put Karachi and click on this button, so now we have weather updates from Karachi. Let's put some other information, London or something. And we can also do something else. For example, if we put a wrong name there, so we will get nothing because this city does not exist. So we can also do error handlings as well. In these cases, let me just show you the request results. Let me get to you the debugger. Okay, so let's go to the logs, and you will see that there should be an error. Yeah, let me go to the requests, and let's see the last request. So you can see that it says request completed with status 404, and if I just see the results, it says that city not found, right? So we can also display these messages as well. So we have this message, and I can display this message right there that the city does not found, right? So how we can do this? We can, yeah, so I would say let's do this in the next part, because we need to introduce a new text element, and on that specific element we can show the errors, and we will connect that specific element with these messages. So that will only show when the status is not okay, and if it's not okay, we will just simply display this message on that text element. So this is how it will work. But at least we have the input now on the dashboard, which we can just put the city name and we can fetch the information. So you can try something else, or like Riyadh, right? So this looks great. This is working great.